Hello again. Yes, for the second time today. How are you, wonderful people? Yes, we are coming live once again for another stall holders sponsors interview for the Heart and Soul Virtual Expo, which is, as I mentioned in our last live, coming up next week, guys. Next Wednesday. We are only 1 week away, and that's very exciting. So we are going live in the Expo from next Wednesday, the 5th. 6th and 7th of February. And as you can see scrolling across the screen below, if you would like to be a part of our expo for free as a visitor, all you need to do, guys, is just come and click on the link, which hello Claire Bear, how are you, darling? If my beautiful VA Parme is watching, I might just ask her to pop that link in the comments if she doesn't mind. That would be awesome. Now, hello Sandy again, how are you? Without any further ado, I would like to introduce you to our beautiful sponsor today. This is Kahlia Mickan from one of her businesses is called Middle of Nowhere Creations, where the spirit of Australian outback comes to life in every product they create. Now, once known for their gourmet preserves, yes, they were, because they were my favourites, I've got to tell you, they've now actually transformed their passion into, and this is very, very unique collection of gorgeous kitchenware and homewares. So I'm going to bring Kahlia up now. We're going to hear all about, we're going to hear all about everything, really. So let's say hello, Kahlia. Hey, gorgeous.
Howdy.
How you going?
I'm living the dream. How you doing?
I'm living the dream too, sister. Living the dream. Awesome.
Brilliant.
So this is going to be funny, and I'm just going to start with this now. As I mentioned in our intro, you said that, we mentioned that you used to, Middle of Nowhere Creations used to do gourmet preserves, right? Hands down, the yummiest thing I have ever tasted. Now, I'm going to show you something now, which is the first time this has ever been showed publicly. This is my face when I ran out of banana and ginger jam. That was my face, legit. I was so upset.
Well, you know what that means. It means to get in the kitchen and whiz up a batch for yourself.
I know. So, and this is what I wanted to talk about. So tell us, because, as we just mentioned, you've transitioned from making the preserves yourself, and now you've changed what you're doing in your business. So tell us what Middle of Nowhere Creations is all about now.
Okay, so the first place that I want to start is, I guess, the reason why, because I'm still, I haven't cooked now for over 12 months, and I'm still getting people saying, are you still cooking? Can I please buy this? Why have you stopped? My heart's broken, rah, rah, rah. And so I still get this sort of feedback, and the answer that I always give, and pardon the pun, but I literally couldn't spread myself thin enough. It come back to a time thing where I couldn't keep all my fingers and all the pies that we've got and be efficient in every single one, because making preserves is so time consuming, and it was so fatiguing. And I was so run down. So at the end of 2023 is when the decision came, and I simply said, I'm done. I've had enough. Let's move on. I've walked that path. I've learnt my lessons. I've added, that to my portfolio. It's now time to move on. So what happened was we looked at making a sale of the brand, so selling it as a gourmet preserves business. But that was a challenge in itself, because I was the cook, and I was using a wood stove to cook on. So that was adding it, a different flavor. And people were saying, well, how can I make the same? I'm like, well, you need to have a wood stove. And so there was a lot of complexity. So after much debating it, and we actually let the brand go dormant, it really sort of fell off a cliff it was most of last year, and then ultimately no sales went through. And then that's when I re-clarified my vision and said, what can I do? And so my first thought is that I had all of my own recipes. So all the products that we made were recipes of my own. I'd mixed them and I tweaked them and I added this and I added that. And like you said about the banana and ginger, that was just my own. It was a case of putting it into a pot and, hey, how does this roll? And so then people said, well, if you're not going to be cooking, can I get your recipes? And I said, well, obviously there's an opening here. So I have dropped the ball in that sense, because when I was looking at selling it, the recipes were going to be part of the sale. So I didn't release anything in case of selling the business. And so now my team and I, we've been flat stick trying to type up all my recipes. And I've been trying to get out of my head and into paper, what did I put in the pot? How many jars did this make? How did I make this taste so good? After not cooking for 12 months, how do we do all this? Yeah.
Hang on. So you had all this in your head. Every time you were doing it, you just made, because it wasn't just banana and ginger jam. You had jams, preserves, sauces, all kind
there was about 100 recipes that I had at the peak. Yeah.
In your head.
So like I had the recipes written down, but it's all the tips and tricks. Like, how do you make this work? Why does it stick to the bottom? What have you got to do? How do you, if you would add the sugar too early, what does that mean? If you add your onion too early, when you're cooking, say for example, mango chutney, it doesn't cook. And so all these things, I'm like, so what did I do here? What process was that? And so it's all having to be written down. And I've been flicking it to a couple of my friends and saying, can you please decipher this? Does this make sense to the regular Joe Blow on the street? And so we've been doing it. And the other thing I've had to do is, like, I made, as you can imagine, massive batches, and so I've had to reduce it all down to general consumer sizes, where people want to make, say, 10 or 15 jars. I've had to bring all the recipes back down to a decent size to do that. So I've forgotten where I was going on this, but that's a direction that we're definitely taking Middle and Nowhere Creations in. That's what I was saying about selling the recipes. So some of the recipes are available, but we're still processing that. We're bringing out a recipe book when we can, and so there's a lot of dots to join. But in the meantime, I said that like in all of our content, we always used like a lot of professional photos, and we also had a lot of photos of our station, like our outback life. And I said, like, you get raving feedback. And I said, well, what can I do with this? I've made the investment to get the photos done when the business was active as it was in the gourmet preserve sense. What can I do? And I said, well, you see all the time, you see some even like artwork on the wall in the kitchen. It'll be like a jar of jam or even, a couple of onions or something, that's unique, but run of the mill. And I said, well, why can't I use these professional photos and just put them onto products and for people to have them in their home? And then if they bought that product, they could then select a recipe, which would be as a bonus to that purchase. So that's what we've done. We took all of our professional photos and we've taken heaps of our own photos and we've put them onto homewares and kitchenwares and such things like that. Yeah, with a big focus on our glass cutting boards. Like that's our main selling point, is our glass cutting boards, because the designs are like proper out there. Yeah.
They are proper out there, and I'm going to take it back to something that you said before. Now, as much as yes, that photo that I put up was funny, right? And let's show it again, right? Just show it again because I can. This is me having the last bit of my banana and ginger jam. I was devastated. Now, you said how people, have been asking you for the whole year of 2024. Can we have the recipes? Now, I'm going to back you up here now, because seriously, Kahlia is in my Heart and Soul Business Academy. And guys, I have to say that she was doing cook-ups. You were doing cook-ups in the cookhouse, and you would say that you would like ridiculous hours from 5 in the morning through to like midnight or 11. It was ridiculous, the amount of
so
effort
at the peak it was 3 a.m. I was getting up at 3 and not getting bed till midnight. So you can imagine the fatigue, on everything in life, like not only on your body, but on your emotions and your mental health and your marriage and the whole bang lot, was all just so badly affected by one business. Yeah.
It was. And so what you've done, and this is what I love about you, Kahlia, is, your creativity and just changing it up and continuing the business and making it work. So, and I got to say, what I love about Middle and Nowhere Creations is that, and I think that I have seen, and I'm probably going to stuff this right up, but there's a glass cutting board with beautiful yellow flowers on it, and I don't know what flowers they are. Maybe Am I thinking
Yeah, so there's
about?
one with a gerbera, one with a pansy. The pansy's got yellow and maroon on it.
Oh,
Yeah,
pansies.
the
That's what
pansy
it
was
is.
just
Pansies.
released. Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful. They are gorgeous. And these are all your photos from your property. Is that correct?
Yeah, so that's how we started. So just to clarify, that's how we started. I used all of my own photos and put them out. I'm like, this is amazing. And then people would come to me and say, oh, you know, have you got this sort of a design? I'm like, well, I don't grow them flowers. I haven't got this or whatever. So then since then I've taken them recommendations and I've designed the design myself. So they're not my own photos, but they are my design. And we've been using them. And so we've now got both. So own photos, professional photos, and then designs that we then bring to the table. Yeah.
Awesome. And they are beautiful designs. And so it's not, yes, it's the glass cutting boards, which you said are your biggest sellers. You've got mugs, and what else have you got that you're selling?
Yep. So we got cushions. So it's like throw pillows / cushions for your lounge room. They're active on there. And then we've got aprons. They're active on there. So yeah, so that's the 4 that we've got at the moment, those 4 product lines, but plenty more in the pipeline, believe me. Yeah.
Right, and as you said, I went aprons. Right, that I need an apron because do you know why? Because when I go to get your recipes and I'm going to make my own banana and ginger jam or whatever one I do, I'm going to need that apron. I'm probably going to need about 4 of them because I'm a messy.
Yeah. Absolutely. And yes, you definitely will need an apron. If you're going to cook preserves, like even for yourself, an apron is a must-have. So yeah.
All right, done. I'm all over it, girl. I'm going to look for one of your aprons. There you go. Now, this isn't the only business. So Middle of Nowhere Creations is sponsoring the Expo, which is incredible. But those of you who don't know, Kahlia has a nickname, the Energizer Bunny, because this woman never stops. I don't know how many businesses you're up to now. I lose count. But what are some other things that you're going to present us in the Expo?
Yeah, I lose count on the businesses as well, believe me. I need structures called Airtable with such things that help me join the dots up. They keep me on track. Yeah. So yeah, Middle of Nowhere Creations first and foremost. Also, we're presenting in your expo our podcast called our Invest Out West podcast. And then we're also presenting a third business called Everyday Profits. Okay, so I'll touch on our Invest Out West podcast and what that is and what does that look like. So my husband and I, we started that about 18 months ago, a bit less than 18 months ago. And what happened was we had started on an investment journey, so started to diversify our portfolio. And we started to buy houses and we started to buy shares and we started to buy cryptocurrencies and we tapped big time into the mindset space. And the more and more that we started to go down this path, people could see the success and that they would just, that they were watching from the outside and, asking questions and how do you do it? And how do you get finance and blah, blah, blah. And we said, well, if we're going to sit here and tell you, we might as well sit here and record it and share it with the world and, about what we do and how we go about purchasing everything. And so that's where the thought was born. And so now we do episodes once every 2 weeks. So once a fortnight on a Friday, the episodes come out. Our next episode will be on this Friday, which is what, 31st. And so we just talk about anything and everything. Like we've got a huge focus on investing sort of outside the box, like say. So we don't, for example, go and buy houses in capital cities or in heavily populated areas because we're so passionate about where we live that we love investing in small towns. And not only that, the return in small towns is next level compared to what you can get in a capital city. And so we really encourage people to sort of think outside the box. How can you make your money work harder for you? And how can you leverage your position to grow, like this portfolio, which will ultimately lead you to your own, financial freedom and your own visions coming to reality in your life. Yeah.
And I have to say, if there's any person who thinks outside the box, you are that person, right? Because, I mean, this is what I mean. I mean, this is just a couple of the other business or one business that I know of. You've started a storage company as well. Out where you live in the middle of nowhere. And would I be correct in saying I heard you've got two storage properties now?
Yes, so we've got 3 actually.
Oh, 3.
And so the self-storage, The self-storage is actually, you know, the what's the word? Is brainchild the word or whatever? Thought bubble of my husband. So we pull as a team, like we have these amazing brain farts and we bounce them off each other and say, what do you think? Will this work? And we work as a team. And so, yes, everyday self-storage was Nat, my husband's, it was his vision and his ambition. And so the way we work that one in particular is he does all the, you know, like virtually all the heavy lifting, all the, you know, the hands-on labor. He does all the research. He does all the, you know, all the nitty gritty, but I just do all the back end, like all the bookwork side of things. And then of course our team, like our VAs, they do all the marketing, like all the front end sort of stuff. And so, yeah, so we pull as a team because I'm not going out there to install self-storage facilities and he's not sitting here in the office to do all the bookwork and sign all the contracts and make sure all the money's flowing. And so it's a two-way street. But yeah, so we have lots of ideas that we say, will this work? What do you think? You know, how can we support each other in this ambition? Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And that's what I love about you too, is, you know, you're never afraid, and I'm going to say one of Susie Menz's favorite words here. You're never afraid to pivot. If something's not working, you will sit back and, like you said, you will chat with Nat about it. And, you know, you'll do something or you'll try something new until you find something that works. And that is hands down something that I absolutely love about you. And this is one reason why I call you the Energizer Bunny, because does your brain ever stop?
Yeah, like I'm quite conscious since stopping Middle of Nowhere Creations. I've become quite conscious, become quite conscious of, you know, how important sleep is to our body, and so that's when the brain stops. You got to have that, you got to have that pullback, because yeah, I've proven, you know, the path that leads you down if you're not conscious of that. Yeah.
That's right. And I think that's something that people, you know, and honestly, and in all honesty, I used to think, you know, when you were doing the cook-ups and stuff like that, I'd sit in the back and I think, how does this woman keep going?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when you announced that you were like can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now. There was a bit of a glitch there, but yeah, cool and fruity now.
But then when you kind of announced that you were, for the time being, closing down Middle of Nowhere Creations, you said, you know, because you were tired and it was just taking a lot of energy, I kind of all of a sudden went, oh, wait, hang on. Okay, yes, we do call you the Energizer Bunny, but you are human. You know?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
you're only capable of so much. And something I have to say, Kahlia, which I really respect with you, is I watch your posts all over Facebook, and you are such I'm trying to think of the word. You are so encouraging to everybody, every single person you come across. And that is one thing that I respect about you so much, because you are very much in the positive mindset space. You know, and one thing I know about you is you never give up. You never give up.
Yeah, no.
Never.
No, and like I love it. I love all that space. And like that wasn't something that I always had. And I mean, I can't remember when I first connected with you, but I take myself back, you know, to being like in my early 20s and that. And it was something that I didn't have. And I look back now and I think, what sort of person was that? You know, like what sort of mindset did I have? But you don't know what you don't know. And it's not until you start to crack into this sort of stuff, especially in the mindset and the personal development side of things, that you start to understand, you know, how you need to perform and how you need to be in control of your mind and how to use your time to the utmost potential, and all these things all tie in to the person that you are. Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. And this to me, you know, okay, answer me this, you know, is that something that really helps you get through the day with all that positivity? Because, you know, your business is Middle of Nowhere Creations, and that's something we haven't mentioned too, is that you are literally out in the middle of nowhere the majority of the time by yourself. How do you cope with that?
Yeah. Yeah. And this is it. Like, I mean, living here. So for context, for those who don't know what Ali's talking about, we live on a cattle station in Northwest Queensland, 3 hours, aka 250 kilometers from our closest town. And like I grew up on I'll call it a hobby farm. It was like a small farm, but like mum and dad's place was like 5 minutes from town. So the isolation side of things was never part of my life. And then I went into, once I left school, well, while I was in school, I started vet nursing. So I was around people every day. And then when I got married at 19, it just went bang. It was from being a head vet nurse and in a vet clinic straight to being married in the middle of nowhere. But I don't think that ever really impacted me, because I think I love the lifestyle. You know, like we have beef cattle here. We raise beef cattle, and I had I always had a deep passion for cows. Like, it's always been something that I've loved, and it just all tied in. But now I guess I've sort of turned a little bit, and I'm deeply grateful for where I live, you know, and for all that I have, and I guess too for what it's taught me along the way. And yeah, it's just like there's just abundance everywhere. And this is what I'm really, really passionate about when I talk to people. Like, when we first got married, there was no such thing as internet here. The phone, like the landline phone, wasn't even on here at the house. That we had to travel like about 400 meters to an old hut and use the phone. So there was nothing here. But this is how we progress. And now what I say to people is that there's no excuse to tap into the opportunities that are right here before us. And if I can do it, living here in the middle of nowhere, if I can endure what would be a delay here on this live session, the internet is dodgy, so like I'm jumping around everywhere. It's all part of the story. And if I can do it, anyone can do it. The opportunities are there, and it's up to us to see them and make them our story. Yeah.
Oh, could I have said it any more clearly myself? No, I could not have. That is frigging brilliant. And for once in my life, I don't know what to say to that, Kahlia. It's just that's awesome. And by the way, you mentioned business number 45, which was the cattle, beef cattle.
Yeah, that's another one to add into the mix. Big brew. But this is what we're so passionate about. And I guess, we've got the cattle to thank, because if it wasn't for our cattle side of the business, we would have understood the importance of being diversified and of bringing in all these different things, and the understanding of leveraging our time and how can we make the most of our lives. So everything plays an important part, which ends up, like laying the stones that we tread. Yeah.
And I have to say something funny. You mentioned before the landline. And I remember the first time I ever spoke to you, we were on a Zoom call, and I heard the landline ring in the background. And I went, oh, my God, that's a sound from, like, my childhood. I haven't heard a landline in I don't know how long. And it freaked me out.
Yeah. Yeah, and like this is it. Like, we still use our landline because, like, it is a vital piece of communication for us. Like, it wasn't until about 2022, I think, that I actually got like all of our smartphones. But I've got one now that actually has the Wi-Fi calling, so people can ring my mobile and I can answer it. Yes, it's got the whole delay thing because you're ringing through the satellite internet, but yeah, like the landline is still part of our story. Like, a lot of self-storage customers ring me on the landline, because that's what we've got and that's what we use. Yeah.
And I think that, that says right there is that it doesn't matter, you've chosen this lifestyle, and, like you said, when you started out, there are some things that you didn't have. We all have to start somewhere. But what I'm loving is that you are a lady who, no matter what happens, and you and Nat, it's not just you, it's you and your husband as well, you will just make it work. And I think that's actually saying, sorry, what was that?
Yeah, that's it. You do. You 100% make it work with what you've got. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's actually, and maybe that's where I got it from, because I've noticed myself saying that a lot lately. Is just like, like Brett will say to me something, what are we, how are we going to do this, whatever it is, and I'll just go, I don't know, I'll make it work. Like, what are we having for piddly example, what are we having for dinner? We don't have much in the fridge. Oh, I don't know, we'll just use what we've got in there. I don't know, I'll make it work. And
yeah,
I think I'll start picturing you in my head now when we say that.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Claire Williams, who has been watching this live with us, she will be able to relate to this because she's been here. And I'll just touch on that comment that you made. What are we going to have for dinner, right? So 3 hours to town. So let's picture this. If you go to town, you get groceries and you forget to buy, cream or something, well, too bad, like you deal with what you've got. And I guess it's just another thing that plays, a huge factor into our lives is that forward thinking, so like for right here, right now, January, Northwest Queensland means it's the wet season. And so at the moment, we're still being able to move, but there's been times when we can't get out of here for months on end. And so you've got to have that forward thinking. You've got to be prepared for whatever comes before you. And so, like, I mean, I'm perfectly, like, I'm cruisy as, and I remember especially going through COVID, everyone's like, oh, I can't go and get my bottle of milk, or I can't go and buy my fresh bread, or, you know, all this la-di-da stuff. And I'm like, I'm just set, you know, like I got my eggs, my chooks for my eggs, my cows for my milk, I make my own bread, and my gardens grow veggies, and we kill our own meat, you know, like we were just cruisy. And I think that plays a huge factor into who we are and why we do what we do. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so, that really does put it in perspective. So there's no forgetting anything on your shopping list when you go. And if you do, like you said, no biggie. Fantastic. Now,
yeah, too bad.
Now we were chatting before this, and I know that you're not going to give away anything, but you did say that you told me that you were going to do something special on the first day of the expo. Can you, without giving anything away, just let us know a little bit of what you can do?
So here's hoping that the universe is on our side and we can get all of our dots to join up. Like, we're proper under the pump here, but it's working, right? So as I touched on before, our third business in this expo is called Everyday Profits. Now, Everyday Profits has been the biggest roller coaster of my life. Okay, so I won't go into that, but I'll just lay that out there because it truly has been a wild ride. Yeah. And so it's had a couple of pivots. Like, let's just use that word, pivots, right? And so now what my vision is, and I guess this touches into a lot what we've already spoken about, is being in the whole, you know, encouragement space and encouraging people to think outside the box and work on their mindset and build themselves up and have faith in themselves and, you know, grasp opportunities and such things. And I said, like I said to myself, there's more to this. And I got talking about, you know, what books do I read and you know, all these different things. And I'm like, well, what's the opportunity behind that? You know, how can we leverage that instead of it just being me using my time over and over and over again to explain what I do? How do we leverage that? And so there's a few legs to Everyday Profits. Okay, so the first and foremost is we're going to start promoting all these sort of mindset, professional business journey books that I love and that I love to share. We're starting to promote that. All right. Wow, and then awesome. We're also bringing out in the Lucky Door Prize. We'll have one of our ebooks. I can't even remember the proper title. I'm so sorry. Anyway, it's there. You'll see it on the day that Ali puts it up. So we're bringing out ebooks. So that one there in the Lucky Door Prize is already published, and we've got more happening in the pipeline. But there's a third thing, and this third thing is like super duper brand new. It's not even finished yet. I've got until the 5th of February to have all my dots joined up to make this a success. Okay. And so it's going to be epic because, again, people have come to me and said, how do I do this? Can you help me do this? I was getting PMs all the time. Please help me do this. I'm like, I can't justify giving my time to one person to help you do that. I'll bring it out in a new form and I will share that with the world. So watch this space. Our launch date will be the 5th of Feb, which is the first day of Ali's Expo. So Wednesday next week. So what do we got? A week? Is today Wednesday? Yeah, we've got a week.
A week today?
I don't know. I don't know if it'll be finished, but we will still stick to our commitment and launch it, and we will still do it there. But whether it'll be live on a website is the bit I'm a bit concerned about. But it will be available at least in some form. But yeah, you've got to be live on you've got to be in Ali's Expo, and I'll be announcing it in my live, which is it 1 p.m. Queensland time? I think it's 1 p.m. Queensland time, so it'll be 1:30 Adelaide time.
Yes, 1:30 Adelaide time, 1 o'clock Brizzy time. Yeah,
Queensland time. So that will be the big announcement. So that'll be on the first day is when I'll be announcing what it is, what it looks like, and how you can take advantage of it. So big excitement. Like, I've just been like a truck run over me with you know, how much I've got to do it, but we're doing it. Like, it's happening.
And don't you love that, Carly? And now that you've put it out there publicly, guess what? You have to do it.
Yeah, we're committed. Exactly. Yeah, that's it. There's no going back. And this is what I say. Like, there might be a few dots not joined up, but it will be happening whether we like it or not. It will be getting talked about, so people won't be disappointed. Yeah.
Well, I can't wait because honestly, guys, you know, sometimes people think, oh, Ali knows what it is. She's all in the know. Do you know what, guys? I have no frigging idea what it is. Carly has not told me. Rude. No, not rude.
So there's only 4 people on planet Earth who know, and that's Nat and me and our 2 VAs who have been working on it. So nobody else knows. No one is privy to any more information. So yeah. Top secret
Wow.
stuff.
All right. Well, there you go, guys. You need to come to Kahlia's first live, which we said is 1:30 Adelaide time on next Wednesday, or 1 p.m. Brisbane time next Wednesday, to find out what that is. Because, well, you've heard Kahlia talk about all her businesses today, and if there's one thing that I know, it's every single thing that Kahlia brings out is incredible. Every single thing that Kahlia starts is incredible. So I'm just going to speak for myself. I'm very curious and I'm very excited.
Yeah, and that's it. Like you said, to be on a live, but you need to be live at Ellie's Expo full stop. Like, you need to commit 5th, 6th, and 7th, put in your calendar and, be there to support Ellie and support, all of her stallholders, and just show up, and because you never know what sort of opportunities like this are going to be there for you to use, for your own advantage. Like, how can you make this grow within yourself? Yeah.
Absolutely. And honestly, guys, if you want, someone who is going, if you want to work with someone, if you want to find out more about Middle of Nowhere Creations, Kahlia's products, Everyday Profits, and what's the other one? Invest Out West. I've got them right. The 3 main ones.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to keep up with it too. Please feel free to contact Kahlia, but definitely come along to the expo, because Kahlia has got a separate stall album for every single one of those businesses. All right, so come and check them out. Kahlia, if people want to get hold of you, if they can't wait until the expo, we know they're still going to have to wait for that announcement. But if they really want to get hold of one of those beautiful aprons, like I will be buying an apron, I'm put that out there, right? Or a glass cutting board, or they want to listen to Invest Out West, how can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, so if I can just make a quick comment on you saying you want to buy an apron, that's something I didn't mention before. So what my team and I have got set up is for this year, like starting this year, we were having 4 releases throughout the year for Middle of Nowhere. So every quarter there'll be new products coming out. Okay, so if you jump on then you're like, oh, there's no designs here that float my boat, you never know what's going to come out in the next season. Okay, so 4 seasons every year we'll have new releases. So to get Middle of Nowhere, it's just middleofnowherecreations.com.au. Okay, to look up Invest Out West, which is our podcast, like we are across the majority of the major podcasting platforms, but go to Spotify and search for Invest Out West. You'll know it's us because it's a circle and it's got a cow on there and it's got a picture of cryptocurrency and picture of self-storage and picture of property investing. So you know it's gonna in the right place. And for Everyday Profits, so Everyday Profits, the website is still open, but it's not actually current. So you're better off just following us on social media. So searching for Everyday Profits on social media, or just going direct to my personal profile. So just search my name and I'm quite sure you will find me. Yeah.
I have no doubt. So, yeah, if all else fails, head to Kahlia's Facebook profile, and that should direct you to anywhere you want to go. In the meantime, guys, honestly, if you want to check out what Kahlia has, another option that you can do is come and join the Expo group. And I know that Kahlia and your team are all very busy setting up all your stall albums ready to go. So we're going to have a lot of fun, aren't we?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, my team got the list yesterday. This is what you must complete. Like, let's have all this done before this date. So, no, they're all over it. Yeah.
Beautiful. Kahlia, thank you so much for having a chat with us today. Seriously, it's always a pleasure having a talk to you, my little Energizer bunny. I love your guts.
Thank you.
Like I said, if you would like to connect with Kahlia, you can do so. And Kahlia, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I'm just going to pop you down below while we say goodbye to everyone. Thanks again, Kahlia.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, what a beautiful soul. I just adore Kahlia. She's just so beautiful. Guys, please, if you would like to come into the expo for free as a visitor, you are very, very welcome to do so. Like I said at the start, all you need to do is just my beautiful VA will just pop the link in the comments. For the free group, come and join our free group, the Heart and Soul Small Business Expo, Virtual Expo. Guys, you can get hold of bargains, specials, discounts. You will get, starting on as of next Wednesday when the expo goes live, you will get, we have someone going live every single half an hour for free trainings, demos, stories, all kinds of things they're going to do. You might have a reading, someone coming on and doing a free reading. It can be anything that happens in those lives. You also have the opportunity to enter into a lucky prize draw every single day. And as Kahlia mentioned, she is going to have an ebook that's going to be in there that I think she said she's going to give away on the first night. So you never know what's going to be given away each night. So there are thousands of dollars worth of prizes to be won each night, guys. All you need to do is follow the rules. Everything will be explained. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, don't panic. Everything will be explained the first morning of the expo. So, guys, we would love to have you join us. Thank you again to beautiful Kahlia for this wonderful chat today. It's been amazing. Guys, we will be coming live again tomorrow 2 more times because we have 2 more of our beautiful sponsors that we're going to interview. So thank you for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you in the Expo group, and we will see you again tomorrow. Bye, everybody.